He has already memorized 25 out of the 30 parts of the Quran, and he is an avid history buff. Saleh, please come up and recite the Quran. And the translation.
Alaikum, greetings of peace. I'll be reciting chapter number 39 of the Quran. أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم والضحى والليل إذا سجى ما ودعك ربك وما قلى وللآخرة خير لك من الأولى ولسوف يعطيك ربك فترضى ألم يجدك يتيما فآوى ووجدك ضالا فهدى ووجدك عائلا فأغنى فأما اليتيم فلا تقهر وأما السائل فلا تنهر وأما بنعمة ربك فحدث صدق الله العظيم. In the name of the Lord, the most gracious, the most merciful. By the morning sunlight and the night when it falls still, your Lord, O Prophet, has not abandoned you, nor has he become displeased. And what is coming is far better for you than this one. And surely your Lord will give so much to you that you will be pleased. Did he not find you as an orphan, then sheltered you? Did he not find you searching, then guide you? And did he not find you needy, then satisfy your needs? So do not oppress the orphan, nor repulse the beggar, and proclaim the blessings of your Lord, and show your gratitude.
Jazakallah Saleh. I'm always touched by his voice. As you can imagine, he has also won many khidmat competitions here as well. So welcome again on behalf of MCC. At this time of Ramadan, at this time, we find ourselves at a unique moment in history right now. But I want to also acknowledge our past. We are sitting here on the ancestral homelands of the Kickapoo, Peoria, Potawatomi, Mayema, Ochete. We sit on the traditional homelands of the people of the Council of Three Fires, the Ojibwe, Potawatomi, and Odawa, as well as the Miami and Ho-Chunk nations. This was also a site of trade, travel, gathering, and healing for more than a dozen other native tribes, and is still home to 100,000 tribal members in the state of Illinois. This is a practice of showing and acknowledging and taking responsibility for the history of violence that has impacted indigenous and native communities for centuries. This is especially relevant given the occupied territories of Palestine. While that isn't the only struggle going on in the world today, it's one that is at the top of our hearts and minds. Our topic today of hope is especially relevant. For Muslims, hope primarily resides with the Creator, which I'm sure the other speakers will touch on, that He has a master plan, and we might not be able to know what that is, but that it exists. Secondly, having hope is in our fellow human beings. Whether they are Muslim, Christian, Jewish, or any other faith, that we are in solidarity when things like this occur. Especially when it comes to hope and feeling like what we're doing is not making a difference. We have to turn back, and knowing the little things that we do actually does make a difference. It is also to recognize our own privilege. Yes, I say privilege because we have access to food and water to break our fast here in about an hour, whereas countless others around the world do not. Just about a month ago, I was at a fundraising dinner for Chicago's Mayor Johnson. And one of the Palestinian leaders there mentioned that even though the ceasefire resolution that passed in the city had no practical implication, it gave us hope. As we reflect today, among the things that you reflect on your privilege and what you can do with it to make a difference for those that have been marginalized and silenced. We have many speakers here today to hear from different perspectives, both clergy and non-clergy. I'm going to start off with inviting Leslie Williams up for an opening prayer from the Jewish perspective. Leslie Williams organizes around anti-racism, Islamophobia and Palestine for Jewish Voice for Peace, the Center for Jewish Nonviolence, and the International Jewish Collective for Justice in Palestine. She has spoken on Palestinian rights, Islamophobia, and anti-Semitism at the American Studies Association Conference, Democratic Socialists of America, the MAS-ICNA Conference, amongst many others. She has also written many articles related to these subjects. Leslie?
Thank you so much, everyone. This is a difficult time, I think, to speak about hope and to feel hope when we see more than 30,000 people dead, when we see children starving to death. It's very difficult to continue to feel that we share a common humanity, frankly. But being in a room with people like you and many people in this room who I know have been fighting and standing up for Gaza and Palestine for many years, in the face of unspeakable complicity and cowardice and cruelty from many of our elected representatives and frankly many of our clergy, that gives me hope. Asif was just mentioning what people can do as a way of using their own privilege to stand up for people who are suffering. And I just wanted to share a brief example from my hometown of Evanston. One of our great African-American civil rights leaders, Bennett Johnson, who was a colleague of Martin Luther King and of Kwame Ture, was offered an honorary street name in Evanston. And he turned it down because he said he could not and would not be associated with a city that had refused to pass a ceasefire resolution. And I think that kind of courage and that kind of moral leadership is the sort of thing that gives me hope. What I'd like to read for you today is the Hashkivenu prayer. In Judaism, Hashkivenu is an evening blessing that invokes God's sheltering presence, a prayer to be able to lie down in peace at night and to return to life the following day. This is a contemporary Hashkivenu prayer written by the rabbi of Tzedek Chicago, the anti-Zionist congregation, Brant Rosen. And I think we all hope that the people of Gaza will be able to lie down in peace and return to life. Hashkivenu Adonai Eloheinu l'shalom v'ha'amidenu v'melkenu l'chaim. May you lie down in peace and rise up again to life in the morning. Vehagen ba'adenu vechaser me'alenu oyev, dever v'karev v'ra'av v'yagon. May you be protected from all violence and harm, hunger and disease, sheltered from weapons of death that strike from above and below. Uvitser kanfeka tastirenu, may you be healed from all pain and trauma, comforted by the knowledge that you are not alone. Uflos alenu sukat shlomeka, may you find refuge beneath a shelter that knows no bounds, that you and all who dwell between the river and the sea may find protection for life and for peace, now and always. And let us say, Amen. Thank you.
Come on, you can do better than that. Thank you, Leslie. It was beautiful. That you are not alone, I think that's the message. And that we find peace for anybody who's living in the river to the sea. That's hope for the future. Next, I want to recognize a couple folks that we have in the audience. One is the mayor of Lincolnwood, Jasal Patel. Is he here?
Yeah.
Stand up and say hi. And we also have the mayor of Skokie, George Van Dusen.
No, it's not here.
Is he here?
No.
No, he didn't make it, or maybe he's running late. Okay. So next, I want to invite up Bob Racuglia. Hopefully I didn't butcher your name, to say a little bit about Vision Morton Grove and a welcome from them, or a message from them.
Vision Morton Grove is a group of residents, Morton Grove residents, working on making our village more welcoming, inclusive, and a more diverse community. Some of the issues we address are environmental sustainability, racial equity, welcoming communities, fair housing, living wage, comprehensive public planning, and making our village government more representative and transparent. So we're grateful and honored to have been invited to partake in this Interfaith Iftar. Several members of our leadership team are here this evening, including Dr. Sadiq, who of course is a member of this mosque community. So I'd just like to read a quick letter of appreciation from the Vision Morton Grove leadership team. Dear Mr. Masood, the organizer, Vision Morton Grove offers congratulations and well wishes to the Muslim Community Center on the occasion of this Interfaith Iftar and dinner hosted by the Interfaith and Outreach Committee. The theme of this year's event, Hope, is especially appropriate as we seek to meet the challenges of these difficult times. We appreciate the vibrant presence of the MCC here in the village of Morton Grove, recognizing the members of this mosque community contribute to the vitality of this town in many ways. In this holy month of Ramadan, we offer our best wishes to our Muslim brothers and sisters. Sincerely, the Vision Morton Grove leadership team.
Thank you, Bob. Thinking maybe we change our name to Interfaith and Outrage, is that? For those, I think we have some folks in the audience. I mean, this is a big deal to think about Vision Morton Grove, and that there is an organization like this that exists. For some of us that, if we go back to the late 80s when we were looking to purchase this building, the community was against us. They did not want to have a mosque buy up the school. And so to go from a place in the late 80s, from that resistance, to get to a place now where we're working on diversity is a huge deal. So again, thank you. Next, I want to invite up Dr. Sam Bawamia. She's a longtime member of the Interfaith and Outreach Committee and chair of the Green Team. She's got a few words. The Green Team has been operating in the mosque for many years, but officially now it is a committee of its own design since the beginning of last year. And so that we're doing a lot with the Green Team here, and so she's going to share. I won't steal your thunder.
Assalamu alaikum, everybody. Can you hear me? Yes. Thank you, Asif. So people call me Dr. Sam, and I'm the chair of the MCC Green Team. Many of us have passionate about the environment for many years. Over the years, we have slowly built our team from working behind the scenes wherever possible to eventually being acknowledged as a permanent committee by the MCC board. We couldn't have done this without the support of and the advice we received from the organizations like Faith in Place, Chicago Muslim Green Team, and other organizations. And we are very grateful for their support. But now, our MCC community needs more awareness and education to get on board. So why is this so important? As in our faith, in the Islamic faith, we are taught that we are the caretakers of the earth. We humans use its resources, but we must maintain a balance. In the Quran, the term is called al-mizan. It says that it's the delicate balance with which this world was set in motion. But our job is to correct our overuse of resources and address the injustices and effects of selfishly treating the earth. Our Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him, said, "Don't waste water, even if you're by the running stream." And the Quran says, God does not love the wasteful. Last year we launched an ambitious project called the Green Team Ramadan, Green Ramadan. Our primary goal was to reduce plastic waste. And because hundreds of people come to our mosque every day, because hundreds of people come to our mosque every night for iftar and prayer, MCC generously provides water to help rehydrate all the fasting people. But however, the generated water bottle waste was out of balance and not in the spirit of Ramadan. So I think it's ironic that we sacrifice food and drink all day, but then fill so many bins with plastic that is reused once. So to address this, we are selling stainless steel water bottles, and we have made refilling easy because MCC has water fountains with both bottle fillers and has ordered large jugs with manual pumps to dispense water in cups or bottles. Last year we had electric water coolers, but this year no electricity is required. We also targeted all the styrofoam plates and cups that were used every night. This year, MCC has replaced thousands of styrofoam plates, cups, and bowls, and paper products that will degrade more quickly. Tonight, we encourage you to bring your own bottles, and to those who brought their cups and utensils, you deserve a round of applause. Okay, so anyway, so the idea was to show that bringing your reasonable wherever you go is easy. Speaking of acknowledgements, we were honored in 2022 to receive the Greener Morton Row Award for how we were raising awareness in our community. You can see the progress in our mosque and feel the momentum increasing. Unfortunately, as you leave, you might still see plastic water bottles upstairs. Overall, it's a work in progress. It's difficult for a whole community to change. But just as we all gotten used to carrying our phones everywhere, we can remember to bring our reusables too. There is a climate crisis today. The ozone layer is decreasing. Pollution is in the oceans. Toxins are everywhere, and rainforests are being destroyed. The world is very much out of balance. We are creating this situation for our children and grandchildren to suffer with. But there is hope. As I said, you can feel the momentum building. All our religions teach respect and care for the earth. It's time for all of us to increase our commitment to the going green. Reflect on our nature, observe how the buzzing bees are moving, and notice how much water you use when you turn on a faucet. Let's be more mindful. And sometimes when the world problems are so big, we can focus on the small actions that make an impact with God's help, and we'll get there. And thank you so much.
That is one thing we don't think about as speakers, because we're always drinking water, which we're not able to do while we're fasting. So I also want to recognize some others that are in the room. Let's see here. Our president of MCC here, Masood Biljapuri, and our VP sitting right next to him. We're Anjum. She's my cohort here in the Interfaith and Outreach Committee. And we've got other members, so we've got Kinza and Bazga in the back there. And I want to call out Khawla and Belinda and Shakira. They were instrumental in, are they in the room? I see Belinda. Khawla and Shakira, are they in the room? There's Khawla. So she was in charge of the food, so as you enjoy your food in about an hour, you can thank her. And the decorations was the Women's Committee name. I don't know if she's still here. Oh, there she is. Okay. All right, so next I want to call up Javed Hussain for a Shia perspective. I don't know if you know this, but MCC or MEC here is a Sunni mosque, and I think most know that Islam is, although there are many denominations, but the two main denominations are Sunni and Shia. And we haven't done this in a while. We've mostly done interfaith stuff, and so this year we thought, why not do a intra-faith kind of perspective. And so he's going to share a little bit from the Shia perspective, but I'd also like to remind everyone that you might not necessarily agree with everything that he's going to say, but this is a learning experience and for us to be respectful in the conversation. So Jawad Hussain is a finance professional and a director of S&P Global, where he covers the media industry. He currently serves as the chairman of the board of directors at the Beit al-Ilm Mosque in Streamwood, Illinois. He also serves on the board at Unity Academy and Islamic Montessori in Streamwood. Additionally, he serves as an executive board member and treasurer at Change Illinois, an organization focused on voter empowerment, ethics reform, and good governance for the state of Illinois. And he's hobbling.
Assalamu alaikum, everyone. Greetings of peace to you all. Yeah, I had a twisted ankle in playing basketball last night, so sorry about that. Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. In the name of God, the beneficent, the merciful. Let me tell you something, my friend. Hope is a dangerous thing. Hope can drive a man insane. No. Hope is the best of things, and no good thing ever dies. This is from one of my favorite movies. I don't know if anyone got the quote. I'm going to ask if they did. Anyone in the audience wanted to yell it out?
Rocky.
Shawshank Redemption, yes. This is an exchange between Red and Andy in that movie. I thought it was apt for the topic that we had today. If anyone knows the movie, I think you would understand it. But difficulties in life and around the globe, we're seeing that. I think we heard from our previous speakers, from the prayer. What's happening in Gaza currently is obviously the most acute and current situation, but this is one of life's conditions. That there is difficulties, there are challenges, there is injustice, there are people who are deprived, and as Brother Asif said, we have privilege here, and that is a blessing. It is a blessing from our Creator, and in the Islamic tradition, when we have a blessing, we are asked to give thanks, generally with the phrase Alhamdulillah, which means all praise is for God. And that is something that we can try to do in our lives. And it's something that we need to understand, because part of the reason for hopelessness, part of the reason for some of these things is because we see injustice spreading. We see difficulties happening for people that don't deserve it. We see strife, we see rancor amongst people. And it's hard to fathom that, it's hard to process that, and it's hard to do anything about it a lot of times, unfortunately. We try, we make efforts, and even to the best of our efforts, sometimes nothing changes. And it's something that results in people becoming either apathetic, becoming fed up, becoming angry, and not knowing how to process and deal with that. And that's something that is people of faith, especially in our Islamic tradition and other faith traditions, there is an important ability to kind of counter that, and that's partly by connecting to God and reconnecting to God. And in times of stress and in times of danger or where we are feeling helpless, it is to reconnect that. And so I wanted to provide a few verses from the Quran. This is from chapter 29. It's called Surah Ankabut, which is known as the spider. It's verse 2 and 3. And in it says, and this is God talking to the people, do people think, once they say we believe, that they will be left without being put to test? We certainly tested those before them, and in this way God will clearly distinguish between those who are truthful and those who reject the truth. And if you've read the Quran, it's filled with stories of the prophets of old, and the prophets that are mentioned, many will know them, Jesus and Moses and Noah and Adam and others. And many of these stories are common to at least the Abrahamic faith. But in those stories, those prophets go through so many difficulties. And even in narrations from Prophet Muhammad, peace and blessing be upon him and his family, he says that I had even more difficulties. And if you read the history, it was persecution, migration, war, because people were trying to attack him, all those difficulties. But this is the means with which God chooses and tests his favorite people, because it's a means of spiritual growth. And so that is a reminder that this world is not necessarily here for us to just have everything is going to be perfect. We're going to face tests, and we have to be ready for that. And we have to have that connection to be able to weather those storms and then grow from them, God willing. And an antidote and a way that we can learn from the faith traditions is to kind of challenge those feelings of hopelessness, is to build that connection. And in Islamic tradition, one of the best ways is through supplication, and to ask God and beseech God and to connect with God through that, to kind of get past some of those feelings of hopelessness. And in the Shia Muslim tradition, there's a rich history of these supplications. Many of them have been taught to us by the members of the prophetic family, which is known as the Ahlul Bayt, or the people of the family of the Prophet, in the vernacular that is used. And I wanted to share just a few of those things, because that connection is key, in my opinion, in helping to bridge that gap. And there is a supplication that was narrated to by Ali ibn Abi Talib, who is the fourth caliph in the Islamic tradition, one of the companions of the Prophet. In the Shia Muslim tradition, he is considered the spiritual successor of the Prophet. And he had a supplication that he taught one of his companions, whose name was Kumail, so it's commonly known as Dua-e-Kumail, the supplication of Kumail. It's a long, lengthy supplication on many topics, but I wanted to share one just snippet of it. And it says, "O he whose name is a remedy, and whose remembrance is a cure, and whose obedience is wealth, have mercy upon him whose capital is hope, and whose weapon is tears of your remembrance." And so this small little snippet just kind of shows building that connection and that strength, and that spiritual strength to face those challenges. And it's recommended in our tradition that we recite this every Thursday night, and on other specific occasions, not just these lines, but the longer supplication to build that connection and that strength. And also in this particular month of Ramadan, there's all the different types of prayers and fasting that we do, but there's also in our tradition another supplication that is recited every night. Normally we recite it communally. There was also another small snippet that I just wanted to share. It goes like this: My Lord, you call out to me, but I turn away from you. You show me love, but I pay no attention to you, as if I have a right to be insolent towards you. Yet that does not keep you from having mercy on me, from treating me with kindness, from being graciously disposed towards me out of your generosity and munificence. So have mercy on your ignorant servant, and grant him liberally out of your abundant kindness, for you are indeed the all-generous and all-munificent. And once again, these are meant for us to try to build that connection, because we do see so much difficulty in the world, and sometimes it's hard to process. But if we remember that God is with us, and that He is there to help us, and He sees us through those difficulties, it's something that can give us solace. And just to conclude, there's also another verse, because at the end of the day, there's a quote also by Martin Luther King that I always found very poignant. The arc of the moral universe is long, but it bends towards justice. And this verse that I'm going to recite, this is from Surah Fatir, which is the originator, chapter 35. It says, O humanity, indeed God's promise is true, so do not let the life of this world deceive you, nor let the chief deceiver, Satan, deceive you about God. And hopelessness is the biggest way we get deceived, because then we feel that God does not have the power to help change things. And like Martin Luther King said, it may take a long time, but the arc of the moral universe bends towards justice, and that's something that we can always have hope in. And if you look through history, yes, it's replete with death, destruction, oppression, but there's also so many instances of standing up to oppression, of change that comes through sacrifice, and that is something that we can look to give us solace and hope, and through that connection to God, strengthen that so that we don't have the affliction of hopelessness that unfortunately is so prevalent in society. And I will end with a supplication. Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. O my Lord, I ask you to bless all those who have come to this gathering. I ask you to bless all of those who worked to make this gathering possible. I ask you to help all of us to be people who are positive to each other and to society, to strive for what is right and for justice in our own lives and for our society at large. Oh Lord, I ask you to help those who are facing injustice and facing difficulties and challenges throughout the world, whether it be in Gaza, whether it be in America, whether it be anywhere in the world. And let us be of those who are at least working towards trying to eradicate that to the best of our ability, and even if we can't, at least having empathy towards those who are feeling or who are going through these challenges. I pray that all of us remain under your blessings, and I will end by saying thank you very much for listening to my thoughts on this topic, and once again I thank the organizers for the invitation and for letting us join in this great occasion. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Jawad, for the practical insights of things that we can do to battle the hopelessness, to create hope, and as a reminder that prophets and others have gone through similar challenges and maybe even worse challenges, and and they turned to God. They didn't turn away from God, right? And as an example of ways for us to continue to do this, and things that we can do daily, even, right? The supplications that you mentioned. So Next, I'd like to call up Saad Khadri. Saad is one of the imams here at Morton Grove. He was born in Park Ridge and grew up in the Chicagoland area. Along with his professional studies, Saad also studied the Islamic sciences formally, culminating in his Ilmiya degree from Jamia Islamia in Zambia. Currently, Saad works as a teacher and department chair at MCC Academy, as well as a religious director of this institution here. He's also a certified personal trainer for Januar Fitness, which I didn't know.
Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. So I told the organizers I'll make it. We're moving, and so like I was putting a bed together, as you can tell, just reaching for something else. Okay, well it's not there. I guess this will have to do. Okay, Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Alhamdulillahi wahda, wassalatu wassalamu ala man la nabiyya ba'da, amma ba'd. All praise be to God, the one who is unique and alone. And peace and salutations and blessings upon our liege Lord, Muhammad, upon whom be praise and peace, and those who have followed his way until the end of time. Amen. It's a difficult time to do anything that's celebratory. Even as we're moving, my wife and I were just talking about the fact that we're moving into a home and there's people who are being pushed out of their homes. That right now I was building my kids their bed, and I'll be returning back to that. And as I was doing so, I couldn't help but think of the fact that there's going to be people who are going to sleep in mud tonight. And it makes a person just wonder, like what is going on in the world? It's almost insanity that you have people who are starving in Sudan, and we are throwing away food in this part of the world. We have roofs being taken off the homes of children in the middle of Gaza, and here we have summer homes and vacation homes, and a person just sometimes doesn't even know what to say. This conversation is going to be about hope tonight, and I want to center this conversation of hope around the conversation incidents that occurs with the son, the grandson of the fountainhead of the monotheistic faiths, which is Jacob, Yaqub, alayhi salam. Jacob, the son of Isaac, the son of Abraham, upon all of them be prayers and peace, and those who follow them to the end of time. He was blessed to have 12 children. And in the Islamic tradition, his first 10 children came from one wife, and then the second 2 children came from a different wife, and some scholars say they were sisters. And the second wife, Leah, she passes away young. So Joseph and Benjamin, Yusuf and Benjamin, alayhim salam, they're left without a mother. And their half-brothers, their mother helps raise them, and their father, obviously. But Joseph is blessed with just immense beauty, unrivaled beauty. And having lost his mother and being the child of impeccable etiquette, obviously people are going to begin to notice him. And so what begins to happen is that the other brothers, they begin to feel, the older brothers, that our father has been unfair in this interaction between us and Joseph. Joseph should not be in such attention, Yusuf alayhi salam. So they hash out a plot where they pretend that they're going to take him out to go play with them, and they request the permission of their father, and their father initially denies request. But upon pressing and pressing and pressing, he accepts. And they take him and they throw him into the well. And he spends, according to some scholars, a short period of time, or a little longer, but it wasn't too long of a time. And then after that, he is brought to the court of the king as a slave, seduced by his wife, and he abstains, and then thrown into prison and forgotten for 12 years. In this meantime, his father, Jacob, has not forgotten him, and weeps so profusely that he's lost his eyesight. And finally, one day, he tells his children, you need to go back and make an effort to go find him. And when they go back to make an effort to find him and actually go for business purposes as well, by this time Joseph has been removed from prison, exonerated from any error, and actually raised to the position of being a treasurer, financial minister. In this situation, his brothers come, and they're searching for him half-heartedly. They're actually coming for some financial benefit because they're facing drought. Yusuf alayhi salam, he recognizes them. They don't recognize him. That night, when they're going to go to sleep, he speaks on the side to Benjamin, his younger brother, unveils his secret that I'm actually Joseph, your brother, and says, whatever happens tomorrow, don't be afraid. Tomorrow, the entire plan that Joseph has comes into play, where it frames Benjamin for theft. And Benjamin is left behind now as well. So now Jacob has lost 2 sons. The eldest son, Judah, Yehuda, he's like, I can't go back and face my father after vowing that I will not leave any children behind. And so now 3 sons stay behind. The remaining go back to their father. Their father is obviously distraught, but he has confidence in God. So he turns to them and says, Ya bani yadhabu, fatahassasu min Yusuf wa akhihi. Oh my children, go search and seek out Joseph and his brothers. And then he says a statement that should be written in gold. وَلَا تَيْأَسُوا مِنْ رَوْحِ اللَّهِ. Do not ever lose hope in God. Don't lose faith in God. إِنَّهُ لَا يَئْسُ مِنْ رَوْحِ اللَّهِ إِلَّا الْقَوْمِ الْكَافِرِينَ. The ones who reject God, they're the only ones who will lose hope in Him. Things are dark today. They are very dark. But our God, He illuminates the world. And His plan may not always subside with our timeline. But His tranquility and the ease that He's promised and the goodness that is supposed to be in the earth will propagate itself. So today is a time of hope to recognize that even though it's not on our timeline, that those suffering all around the world will find their day. If not in this world, on the judgment day, they'll be given elevation of status and entrance into paradise. I ask that God forgive us and accept us. Wa akhir da'wan, alhamdulillahi rabbil alamin.
Such a timely message. As we were stating earlier, God has a master plan, and sometimes it might take years, it might take decades for change to happen. And for us to stay resilient, and that doesn't mean that we're hopeful or have that hope 24/7 all the time. There are going to be moments that we lose hope. It's finding these stories, it's finding these practices that allow us to come back to God. That's the trick, right? So if anybody tells you don't lose hope ever, that you're always 24/7 happy, hopeful, it's not realistic. So I think the trick is more when we do lose hope, how do we find our way back? And so next, I would like to invite Noor Abdul Monim to come up. She's the Chief of Staff at New Schools, which is a venture philanthropy that builds a better education system by connecting people, resources, and ideas. In her role, she supports the strategic functioning and operations of the New Schools executive leadership team and board, and leads on strategic priorities. She is a proud daughter of 2 Egyptian immigrants, a sister and a wife. Noor is proud of her Midwest and Middle Eastern heritage and calls Chicago home. Outside of work, she enjoys spending quality time with her family, traveling, experimenting with new recipes, following Formula One, and boxing.
Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. It's so lovely to be here. Peace and blessings be upon you. Again, it's such an honor and pleasure to be celebrating another night of Ramadan with such a diverse community. As Esif has already mentioned, I'm a very proud daughter of 2 Egyptian immigrants. It's something I would have struggled to say 20 years ago. I'm also a wife, I'm a sister, I'm a chocoholic, I'm a workaholic. My husband might say I'm very much a workaholic. But I'm also a very proud Muslim American, and building on the themes that have been mentioned this evening, this year I'm especially proud to be able to exercise my ability to fast, a very important form of expression of my faith. This year, I know that God has given me abundance, and abundance in the form of food, abundance in the form of shelter, abundance in the form of emotional support, a privilege that not all Muslims are able to have in this moment today. I think about the Muslims in Gaza, I think about the people in Gaza who don't have access to clean water, who don't have access to shelter, who don't have access to food, and thinking about being able to voluntarily abstain from food all day when there are millions of people around the world starving. As I stand before you in support of the Palestinian right to life, right to live, I also want to acknowledge my commitment to indigenous communities in the U.S. As Asif mentioned in the beginning of our evening today, it's just as important to acknowledge the ancestral homelands of the Council of the Three Fires, and in a commitment to, again, indigenous peoples internationally, we must also commit and understand our positioning here in the U.S. as well. Now, I could focus on all the negative things this evening, and it may sound like that's what I've been doing for the past couple of moments, but I'd like to invite you to interrupt that thinking. I think it's easy to get bottled down by all the depressing news out there. The 24-hour relentless news cycle feeds us depressing information constantly, and it's easy to get sucked into that. I'm pretty exhausted, I'm pretty tired, and what I would invite you all to say and think about is when you find these moments of tiredness, when you find these moments of exhaustion, when you get to that darkness, that depth, I urge you to remember that hope is a light that lives within you. And I urge you to remember to charge that light in order for that hope to grow. Ramadan is a beautiful opportunity to spiritually cleanse and recharge. And one of the commitments I've made for myself this month is to recharge that light, is to find the things that give me hope and feed those things. And I do that through reflection, through prayer, and through gratitude. From my personal experience, I know that when I charge and nurture my light, it enables me to be a better citizen. It enables me to be an active participant of my life and an agent for change. And so I think about the courage that it takes to write to my politicians and lean into that courage. I think about taking pride in being able to rally with thousands of Chicagoans on Lakeshore Drive and in downtown Chicago in protest of what's happening in Palestine, in Palestine. And this is what really supercharges my light. So being here with you all, being in a community of people, and knowing that I live in a world where people of all denominations, of all beliefs, all believe for enduring justice, all believe and pray for enduring justice. And I know that my light is just one of a greater collective here. And so if you take one thing away from my remarks today, it's that open your heart and soul to igniting this light that lives within you. I pray that your light is charged and supercharged by the infinite light of a greater being that exists beyond us. I pray to Allah to let His light work through us, and I pray to let His light guide us through the future ahead. I'm going to just end by sharing one ayah from Surah An-Nur, the Surah of Light. My Quranic recitation may not be as amazing as Brother Saleh earlier, so I appreciate your grace. Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. Allahu nuru as-samawati wal-ard. Mathalu nurihi kamishkatin fiha misbah. Al-misbah fi zujajati. الزجاجة كأنها كوكب دري يقود من شجرة مباركة زيتونة لا شرقية ولا غربية يكاد زيتها يضيء ولو لم تمسسه نار نور على نور يهدي الله لنوره من يشاء ويضرب الله الأمثال للناس والله بكل شيء عليم. God is the light of the heavens and earth. He is the light like this. There is a niche, and in this niche, in it a lamp, and in this lamp, inside a glass, and a glass is like a glittering star, fueled from a blessed olive tree, neither from the east nor the west, whose oil almost gives light, even when there is no fire that touches it. Light upon light. God guides whoever he wills to his light. God draws such comparisons for people. God has full knowledge of everything. Thank you so much, and again, I pray that the light finds you with a little sliver of hope. Thank you.
Thank you, Noor. I love that metaphor of light. That God is the infinite light, and that we charge our little lights from His light. I think I'm going to hold that. So that's really beautiful. Thank you. All right, next we have Fatima Musa. And so just to be cognizant of the time, breaking of the fast is going to happen at 7:02. And we'll hear the Maghrib Azan right before we break that fast around that time. So we have about 15 to 20 minutes. So I want to call Fatima up, and then I'll be explaining a little bit about Ramadan after that. But Fatima Musa is born and raised in Palestine. She joined MCC Academy in 2022, bringing with her a rich cultural background and a resilient spirit. Beyond her academic pursuits, she's noted for her achievements in martial arts, including Palestinian national gold medals and black belts in kickboxing and taekwondo. Now she advocates for the Palestinian cause, bringing awareness where she can. Fatima? There for the slides. It's on, right?
Ladies and gentlemen, Assalamu alaikum. I stand before you today, a voice from Palestine, a land rich in history and culture, yet secret despite decades of war. I speak to you not just from the struggles we face, but from the undying hope that sustains us, the hope for peace, for justice, and where future generations can thrive without fear. In the heart of every Palestinian, there's a story. Stories of resilience, families holding tight to each other to survive, children who find joy in the simplest pleasures, such as soaking your feet in the ocean that you can feel and hear, but cannot reach. And communities refuse to be divided by checkpoints and the apartheid wall. Our hope is born from these stories, from the steadfast belief that despite hardship, a dawn of peace and freedom is on the horizon. Our land is alive with its ancient olive trees and busy markets, showing the strong spirit of its people. We keep our traditions alive, honor our past, and most importantly, we keep our dreams. We dream of going back to our stolen homes, living freely without the control from the occupation, and wanting our future generations to grow up proud of who they are, just like the generations before them. We are the people of peace and harmony, looking for the day when the sounds of laughter will replace the sounds of gunfire, when the wall of apartheid is no more, and when children can have safe passages to school. We extend our hands in friendship to all those who believe in justice and humanity. regardless of their religion or nationality. After all, Palestine is the Holy Land. Today, I ask you to look beyond the headlines to see the faces of Palestinian people and say their names, to hear our stories of perseverance and hope. We ask for your solidarity and your support in our quest for dignity of all Palestinian people. At the moment, people of Gaza need our immediate attention and action, for they cannot remain just a statistic on the evening news. Tonight, I have shared with you our dreams, the struggles, and the unwavering hope of the Palestinian people. I pray that they do not fall upon deaf ears. And together, with courage, we will reach for the power within us to change the course of history. Thank you for your undivided attention.
Thank you, Fatima. That was heavy. Before I go on to Ramadan, I want to ask that let's take 30 seconds. Let's close our eyes, take 30 seconds, and reflect on what Fatima shared with us. Thank you. I think to put in context the talk of hope, especially in context of the pictures of where the country has been, where it is now, and hope for the future of really the right to self-determination for the Palestinians. You'll see a couple of items on your tables. One was a program. The other is a Ramadan Faith and Service pamphlet. And so I'm going to read from that a few things, or point out a few things from there. So fasting in the month of Ramadan is one of the 5 pillars of Islam, right? First being belief in one God, communication with God through prayer 5 times a day is the second, giving charity, the 5th, pilgrimage to Makkah once during your lifetime, and then the 4th being fasting during this month. So all children, elderly, and those adults who are financially, physically, or mentally unable are excused from 3, 5, and 4 specifically, that they don't have to fast if they're not able to from a physical standpoint. Fasting during Ramadan serves many purposes. It's a time for inner reflection, self-control, and empathy. It's also the example of service by all prophets, including Abraham, Moses, Jesus, and Muhammad. This year, Muslims around the world face the additional challenge of observing Ramadan amidst global strife and loss. The middle part, especially since we have a lot of folks that are not Muslim in the room, how to support Muslim students, colleagues, and neighbors, right? So Muslims will fast from the 11th to the 9th, although this looks like it's from last year, so we need to update those dates, but it's about the same. Or actually, I think it's the year that's wrong. It is March 11th to April 9th, but 2024. A good way to acknowledge that to your colleagues is to say Ramadan Mubarak, or essentially translating to a blessed Ramadan. Additionally, on the 9th, based on the moon sighting, Muslims will celebrate Eid al-Fitr, either on the 9th or the 10th. Usually they will take the day off, so you won't see them at work, but they will get together for a morning prayer, and then usually meals with loved ones during the day, as well as additional acts of charity and gifts. Eid Mubarak is which translates to happy holiday, is a way to convey to your colleagues that you recognize and you appreciate that they're Muslim, and that this is something, and even celebrating 30 days of fasting, right? So if you put into context, your colleagues have fasted for 30 days from dawn to sunset, which is, and acknowledging Eid Mubarak is a way to say, I recognize that this is something great that you did. And fasting is physically and mentally challenging, so please be patient and compassionate. I used to tell my colleagues, around 5:30, you might want to stay away from me. Okay, so let's see. We have about 8 more minutes. So what I will say here is, let's turn back to the icebreakers. So that is one way. So if you look at the back, we have icebreakers. So if you haven't met someone from another faith, I would say let's take about 2 minutes now. Stand up, approach someone from another faith, and either ask one of those icebreakers, or you have the option of having dialogue on the various speeches, or what is something that touched you in the talks that happened today. So let's stand up, find someone from a different faith, and let's have some connection.
I forgot about the restaurant that was in there, and I forgot about everything pushing back in time. Even the cook that was in there.
Oh, really? My kids go to using the academy.
Sure.
Yeah, that's good. Were you in Indiana? Wow. You're moving here from Indiana. 17 years, that's what
Right now I'm working on majority of my portfolio. I say if it goes well, it'll be the last project I do. If it's bad, it'll be the last project. At least we're done.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I heard you say. What's your name? Ayuj? Yeah, that's right. You're in 5th grade, right? Well, I'll come and chaperone another field trip before the end of the year. I think May 31st.
Oh, really?
My name is Catherine. What is your name?
You can come on back, have your seats. Sorry to interrupt, the conversation seemed juicy.
Okay, you're not the deacon anymore? Okay, yeah.
Please find your seats. So all are ready. We only have a couple minutes. Please find your seats. Right before we have prayer service, I want to invite up State Senator Ram to say a few words.
Good evening, everyone. Ramadan Kareem. It's great to be with you all. Can everyone hear me? All right. Well, I'll be brief because I know we're about to break the fast and pray. There you go. I just want to thank everybody for coming out. My name is Ron Blivel. I'm State Senator for the 8th District in the state of Illinois. Represent 217,000 people from Albany Park to Morton Grove. So I've been swinging through my district today, and I love being here for two reasons. One is it reminds me and confirms what I tell my colleagues in Springfield, which is that I have the most diverse district in the state of Illinois, and I am so proud to have that. And secondly, it reminds me of the corner of my district on Elston Avenue to Morton Grove, the presence of the MCC community across my district, and the work that they do to build inclusivity in our communities. And so it's events like this that happen today, but they are involved with making them happen throughout the year. And so with that, I just want to say welcome to everybody. Thank you so much for having us at your facility and fostering this important conversation and meal. So thanks so much. Let's have fun. Thank you.
All right, we should hear the Maghrib Azan shortly. When we hear the Azan,
Allahu Akbar, Allahu Akbar, Allahu Akbar, Allahu Akbar. Ashhadu an la ilaha illallah. Ashhadu an la ilaha illallah. أشهد أن محمدا رسول الله. أشهد أن محمدا رسول الله. حي على الصلاة. حي على الصلاة. حي على الفلاح. حي على الفلاح. الله أكبر، الله أكبر. لا
say is traditionally Muslims break their fast with the date, so you saw a lot of us doing that, and some water. So what's going to happen now is we're going to have our fourth prayer of the day in about 5 minutes. So those who want to observe that, you can definitely stay down here. The monitor will be on so you can see that. But you are able to go upstairs as well. If you both the men and the men's section, women in the women's section, to also observe the prayer from up above. There will be guides in the back to do that. And then we will come back here then for dinner, which will be served buffet style as well. And the program's not done. We will have a closing prayer before we leave as well. So Okay, so let's do that. So whoever wants to go, definitely make your way. Men's area is one floor above us where you came in. The women's area is 2 floors above us. There is an elevator available as well if you want to be able to do that. But you feel free to hang out here if you want. We will be back in about 5 minutes. Dr. Sam, they both helped arrange the food. So one more time. I also like to recognize that we have Kevin Olekol, who's a state rep here in the building. Kevin, you want to say anything? Just to say, Senator Rahm said some words, so you might want to kind of try to top him.
No, I can't top him.
No, you can't. It's up to you.
I'll keep it brief because I know everybody's enjoying the food. I'm Kevin Olekol. I'm the state representative of the 16th district. It's my first term in office. I started serving in January of 2023. I represent about half of Skokie, all of Lincolnwood, the West Rogers Park community. I'm just really excited to be here today and spend some time with you all. MEC used to be in my district. Unfortunately, it was drawn out, but I know how important it is to our entire community, and I'm always proud to be a supporter here and all the great work that they do. So don't ever hesitate to reach out to my office if there's anything that you all think that we need to be fighting for in Springfield. So thank you all.
All right, guys, so one more item. So I'd like to call up the power couple here. They're reverends and doctors, so that's got to be, I don't know how many years, 20 years of education, but Reverend Doctors Anna Piela and Michael Wolf, co-associate regional ministers for American Baptist Churches, Metro Chicago, to offer our closing prayer.
What a joy it is to be here with you tonight to break the fast. I have just had such a fantastic time getting to know many of you and being able to form those bonds. Oftentimes, as people of faith, what we work on or when we strive for justice, it can feel a little discouraging to see that that work doesn't necessarily produce the effect that we want in the world. But when we think locally, sometimes when we think even a little bit smaller, when it's about a shared meal together and coming together and understanding one another across lines of religious difference or other kinds of difference, it's a really powerful thing. It can have ripple effects that are profound, that go on to shape other experiences that we have on the line. I am so grateful, and we're so grateful to be here to share this and to close this lovely celebration with a prayer.
O Holy One, the most beneficent, the most merciful, the most compassionate, we know that your mercy is far greater than our imagination. We give thanks for the chance to be here together, for the chance to give witness to the fact that you are the sole source of peace, justice, love, and knowledge.
Sustainer of all, we hold in our hearts all those who are without homes, the hungry, the injured, the dying, those who are alone, in particular our siblings in Palestine. May they enjoy justice, peace, and joy once again.
We pray that you bless all who are gathered here, so that the fast that we undertake helps us be more compassionate, for the world is crying out for more compassion.
Our guide, lead us to your paths of peace. Lead us beside those still waters so that we might find our rest in you. Just as we have been filled with nourishment this evening, may our lives be filled with hope. Amen.
Thank you so much. So that concludes the official part of the evening. Definitely get more food if you want. There is a dessert table, although it's pretty ravaged right now, so if there's any dessert left. I want to once again thank you for coming. I didn't announce who I was, so I am Asif Masood, the Interfaith and Outreach or Outrage Coordinator for this mosque. So thank you again for coming. We want to be out of here, let's say by 8:10. So we have about 13 minutes. So finish up your food, say your goodbyes, and exit slowly as you can. Good night.